explode underwater, and you'd break the sub by the impact of the water. Yes, and if you get one of those within 35, 40 feet of the sub, you'll get him. You'll break his hull and sink him. And on May 15th, about 5:06 p.m., I caught a sub on the surface, and I dropped 4 depth charges on it.
How fast did that submarine go down after that?
Well, I made a tight 270 turn and come back, and I saw his conning tower go under. They go under fast if you break your hull.
And what were you flying then?
I was flying a PB-4Y True, was a B-24.
Okay, okay.
4-engine bomber.
And Gene, these are all seniors right here. And so, what was it like for you when you were in high school? Like, did you have other plans before you went into the Navy, or what was it like for you back to like your senior year in high school? And
Well,
then
I graduated from high school, and I was working at J.D. Adams. That's a company in Indianapolis that manufactures road graders. And when I heard about the Navy, I wanted to get in the Navy. And as soon as I turned 18, well, I was down there, and I had to go. I was living in Indianapolis. I had to go to Chicago to be tested. They had 2 tests, one mechanical and one on social studies and all the history of the United States. I failed that test, but I got 100% on the mechanical test. So based on that, they interviewed me and let me in, and that's how I got into the Navy. Then I came back to J.D. Adams, and I was working about 2 weeks, and they called me to active duty. I went into flight training right after Pearl Harbor, which was right after Pearl Harbor on June the 7th in 1941, and that's when I went into flight training.
So we had Pearl Harbor was December 7th, 1941,
Yep.
and Hitler went into Poland 1939.
That's right.
And so we kind of waited for a while before we got into the war, didn't we? It wasn't until Japan.
Well, England went in before we did,
Yep.
and then of course when England went in so heavy, we finally got into it.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to remember, World War II, World War I was just one generation ahead, and the attitude of the American people was no way we're going to get involved in another European war. That was their attitude. And but after Pearl Harbor, it all shifted, and it shifted into an attitude, kill the bastard. I mean, just overnight, it was so completely united. I don't know how to impress on you how united the country became after Pearl Harbor. The Japanese, the Russians, and the Germany made 2 mistakes, 2 big mistakes. Number one, Russia was an ally of Germany, and Hitler went in and invaded Russia. And immediately Russia turned around and became our ally. And the second mistake, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, that was a big mistake, because prior to Pearl Harbor, the American people didn't want to get involved in the war. And I'm kind of repeating myself, but after Pearl Harbor, the attitude of the American people was get in there and kill them.
it's cozy in here.
Are you Gene?
Yes.
Hey, nice to meet you, Gene.
Let's get going.
Yes.
I love the film. Hi.
Glad to meet you.
I'm going to sit. I'm
So, Mr. Elmore, sometimes they compare 9/11, the World Trade Center tragedy, with Pearl Harbor. Now, you're the only one in this room that can really compare those two. How would you compare them? Did that ignite our country's sentiment as much as Pearl Harbor did? What did you think?
I think Pearl Harbor was stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing I need to impress on you is how united the country became after Pearl Harbor. Because you had a lot of mad Americans, and then, like I say, their attitude was get in there and kill them, and it completely united the country. So that's the reason I say Japan made a big mistake when they attacked Pearl Harbor. Because if it hadn't been for that, the American people, we'd have gotten into the war a lot later.
Now, Ms. Quinlan has mentioned something about comparing the Berlin airlift with the immigration crisis. Is that one of the topics that you wanted to ask about? Is that?
How about you guys answer?
Yeah.
What did you want to know?
Talk to me. What do you want to? What do you want to know?
We don't fight.
We can back up here and let somebody.
So is it true that after World War II, we were manufacturing 40% of the world's goods and stuff? I heard that because like basically, like we just started manufacturing everything for war. So like car factories turned into like they were building tanks basically.
Oh, yeah. Well, to begin with, they quit manufacturing cars during the war. They just shut down the automobile. There was no cars produced for 3 or 4 years in there. Oh, probably 5 or 6 years. All the car manufacturing stopped, and it all turned to producing tanks and war equipment. So all the companies. The first, I remember Dad, my father, bought a 49 Ford. And he had to wait 2 years to get that. There was such a backlog of the need for cars, and there were no cars produced during the war. And so for those 4 or 5 years, there were no cars produced at all.
Didn't know
They
that.
all went into war production.
You realize that San Diego was also very important to the war effort. Convair Aircraft Company, building B-24s. They used to build plants and roll them out onto the runway that is now Lindbergh Field.
They produced one every 55 minutes.
Every 55 minutes, they would run one of these things off
Yep.
there. The thing that's interesting, if you look about it, if later on in the wartime, if you flew over the plant, you would not see it. What you do is you see streets and houses and trees.
Well, they had the whole plant
They had the
covered.
whole plant covered, right?
Covered with kind of a netting where you couldn't see the factory at all.
And the cars parked
Yeah.
beneath that netting.
And if you go out to Point Loma and some of the houses out there, people have built houses on them now. And they built their houses around these gun emplacements. And you go down into the basement, the gun emplacements are still there. The guns aren't there anymore. But you see the rock and you can look out onto the ocean. And they made family rooms out of those gun emplacements. Well, the houses were built right around them. But
Of course, the thinking was if the Japanese could bomb Pearl Harbor, then they could make it all the way to our coast. So that's why we were camouflaging a lot of the operations.
that's what they were assuming, that the Japs might come on
And they
over
did.
and attempt an invasion, which never took place.
They sent over,
And then we're gonna have to pause because it's lunchtime for these guys, but then we will go ahead and get set up for the afternoon cruise
Okay.
and all those different students. So you guys, can you just give them a warm round of applause?